Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Hello everybody, it's Mark and Jules, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox here, and welcome to the latest episode of the Z to A of Life podcast.
Hello, yes, and this week our letter is I for those annoying inner thoughts.
Sometimes they're annoying, and sometimes they're good as well though, aren't they?
They are, but we've also got a very special guest with us today to help us work our way through our inner thoughts. It's the amazing, the lovely Lex Lovell.
Hey!
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you very much. I was about to say thanks for having me again.
Oh, it's lovely. And if you don't mind, can you just either remind our listeners or the new listeners that may not have caught up with the podcasts that you've been on previously? So, yeah, tell us about yourself and what you do.
What I do is, well, I'll give you a title, which then of us is like, what is that? But anyway, so firstly, I am an NLP master practitioner. So it's, in short term, I'm just helping people with mindset, language and behaviour. So I work one-on-one with people, just helping them overcome any issues in life. And then on the second part of what I do is I am a mental health trainer. So it's just lovely to be able to go out there and deliver courses around mental health awareness or mental health first aid. So two just go lovely hand in hand.
I got a question that loads of people ask. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Try saying that in a hurry. It's probably one of the worst words in the world to describe something that's so powerful about your thoughts, isn't it? But what does that actually mean?
Yeah, do you know, it is funny. That's when a lot of the time I say NLP, neuro-linguistics, and everyone's like, what? And I just go,
Makes
do you
you
know
sound
what?
intelligent,
Yeah,
though.
that's all right. Yeah, I'll stick with that.
Oh, I'm going to mess with your mind.
But yeah, neuro just means the brain, linguistics means language, and programming means behaviour. So it's just, understanding what's going on in the brain, how are you internally, externally using your language, and what behaviour are you doing. Yeah, so usually what it is people don't understand the first two, usually come into you to go, this is a behaviour I don't want. And it's like, okay, well, let's delve into the brain and then let's look at how you're thinking and how you're speaking, thoughts.
So now you know why we've chose you to come on this podcast, because you're going to help us with these annoying inner thoughts that we can have and how to manage them, because, you know, as you said, not all inner thoughts are negative, but often they can be, and they can actually be a pattern of destructive ones, can't they? And they can be destructive towards ourselves, but also they can be destructive towards others and can then affect your mental health, your behaviour and all sorts of things, can't it?
Yeah, massively, without a doubt. It's, you know, constantly we've got thoughts going around in our head all the time. A lot of the time we don't realise that we're thinking. You know, so a lot of the time when I'll say to clients, right, what was your thought then? Just before that happened, what was you thinking? Oh, no idea. But once you start thinking more about, let me stop for a minute, you realise how much you are thinking. But yeah, without a doubt, that's constantly going on inside. But yeah, you will be, that's what we say, internal thoughts, language, but external. So of course, we're forever talking as well.
So people think neuro-linguistic programming is about programming your brain and messing with it. But we program ourselves every day, don't we, to run on autopilot. It's that age-old thing where people get in the car, drive to work, and then think, how do I get to work? Because they don't think about it. Same with students that we work with in school. They go from maths to PE. They walk from maths to PE and don't even think about it. They just arrive in the changing rooms or the English room, wherever they're going. And we're on autopilot all the time. And that's where our inner thoughts already pre-programmed, aren't they?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, when people sort of come to you, they're like, oh, get frightened because they're thinking, how are you going to program me? And it's like, well, no, hang on. If you think about it, how you are today is not how you were born. No. Yeah, you've already programmed yourself. You've automatically done that. But obviously you're at a point now where this is not serving you anymore. No. So let's look at how you've programmed yourself, and we just got to rewire you to how you want to be, how you want to think and how you want to be.
And I guess when you were saying how you've programmed yourself, has come from quite possibly your childhood.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah?
Yeah. A lot of the time it will come back. You've got to think when you're young, we've programmed ourselves, and it will usually be from all past experiences, or it will come from generally parents. Whatever they're telling us, we're going to get belief systems. So we're thinking about the things that we're hearing, what do we believe? And then once we've got a belief system, we're going to run by that, and that affects our behaviour. So a lot of it will come from childhood.
And TV and social media. That raises our kids nowadays, doesn't it?
Environment. It's everything around us has an influence, without a doubt.
I remember years ago, it just popped into my mind, that somebody died or something, or was in hospital in a soap like Coronation Street or EastEnders, and the show actually got loads of get well cards.
Oh, really?
Because people actually believed it was true. And when you think about it, people would watch TV programmes. Years ago, EastEnders or Coronation Street was on at a fixed time each week, so people would actually sit down and tune in. It wasn't like a box set then, was it?
No. Well, you didn't have
Reality.
iPlayer, or you couldn't replay it, could you? You had to sit and watch it, wasn't it?
That's it. So if you missed it and you didn't record it on the video recorder, that was it. But you believed for that hour that EastEnders or Coronation Street was it. And I'd just like to publicly say, I never watched either of them. I didn't like them. And I didn't send a get well card to the lady who was ill, or the sympathy card to the one that died in it, whatever.
Wasn't there something once years ago? Was it a radio show? I think I'm going back even further. I've just got some kind of recollection. I played this radio show, and the story was that these aliens had landed, and everybody believed it in the country.
Yes, that was the War of the Worlds, Orson Welles.
Oh, right, was it? I don't actually recall hearing it, but I just remember the stories and found it so fascinating.
Here we go. I've just pulled it up on my research engine. And it was actually October the 30th, 1938. So that's probably why you don't remember it. Do you remember that?
Vaguely remembered it. Yeah, I think I was,
Of course, if you played something like that now, with the digitalisation, the dramatisation of everything, people would probably not believe it. But back in those days, when you only had radio and only a few people had radio, they must have been really scared. And their mind was tricked to think that the world was being invaded by aliens. It's incredible, really, isn't it?
It is. So it's not new then to have the TV or radio influence us and get us to start packing our suitcases and fleeing for the hills because we're being invaded by aliens.
That's a serious case of NLP there, programming your mind. Yeah, the aliens are coming to get us.
So I have a question. Is that what you do? Is that...
What, brainwash people?
Is that how you do this?
Do you know what? Funny though, some people do look at NLP and go, "Oh, you're going to brainwash me," because again, it's that. Oh, how do you change your mind? And it's that thinking. Oh, the only way to do it is that brainwashing, and you're like, no, it's not. It's just going back to remind people you've already programmed it. You know, it's that simple.
Yeah, and I guess as well. I mean, how difficult is it? Because if these things have been ingrained into you from a young person, and those have been your beliefs maybe for the last, 10, 20 years, how difficult is it to rewire your thought processes?
It can be really simple. Yeah, one is getting the person to realise their belief system in the first place and what their thoughts are. That's the first part that I won't say take time, it isn't. It's just, again, habit. So once you can kind of say to people, like, right at the beginning, or what you're thinking, don't know. But once your brain reminds yourself, what did I just do then? What was I thinking? It becomes a pattern. So it becomes very easy to then go, oh, I know what I was thinking then, or I'm very aware of it quite quickly. So it doesn't take too long to do, but it's working with the individual to work out belief systems. Like, they'll say something, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Where does that come from?
Yes. I guess it's getting them to work it out themselves, where it came from. Is it true?
Yeah, that's it. Because most of the time you will go, right, that came from my parent. You'll know it. I've got to give you a lovely example. So I was working with this little girl. She's only 10. Came into the session with her mum, and we were talking about anxiety of her going swimming. She went, I'm worried because I can't swim from one end to the other. My legs get tired. And I said, why do you think that is? And she went, because I've lost weight. Okay, interesting. So how does that change? She went, you float better when you're bigger. Right. So I said, that's really interesting. Where does that come from? Who told you that? And her little eyes just went to her mum. And she went, my mum. And my mum went, well, it's true. And I said, Is it? I said, so where does that come from for you? She went, well, it's just when I was younger, I used to swim really well and float really well. Then I lost some weight and didn't feel like I float as well. So that little girl, now, because you believe your parents, she's now believes I don't float better because I've lost weight, which to her means then I can't swim as well. But usually as we grow older, she'll probably forget that comment, and she'll just, again, when we think about thoughts, her thought will just constantly then be, I can't swim very well, I can't swim very well, and that's what could hold her back from swimming.
I think of an example, when we were in a school a couple of weeks ago, we were delivering a workshop on how to give an amazing presentation. And we kicked off with glossophobia, which is a fear of public speaking. And apparently, people fear public speaking more than death. Now, personally, I'd rather public speak than die. But when we started off this workshop, we got students to rate themselves out of 1 out of 10 on how confident you'd feel standing up and giving a presentation right now in front of the class. And nearly everybody was saying 1, even some were adding 0 on there, saying, I can't stand public speaking, I would rather die than public speak, or something along those lines. Then we asked them why, and they were saying, well, because I might make a mistake, or because I might get laughed at by somebody, or because I might fluff my words. One of them even actually said I might pass wind. Of course. So
nerves.
Those things are all inner thoughts, aren't they? They're programming into their mind to think that something's going to go really, really badly wrong if they stand up in front of their classmates.
Or they're not good enough.
Yeah. So
certainly
how
that was the other one. I can't do it. That's the word we get a lot. I can't do that.
I can't do that. So how do they change that I can't to I can? Or it's not that scary?
And I think it's as simple as that. That's the thing when I'm working with people, it's one, working out what are the thoughts in the first place. Yeah. Because a lot of the time people, like I keep saying to you, they don't realise that. So once you've got it to go, there you go, I can't do that. Then a lot of the time it's just remembering. It is as simple as swapping I can. Yeah, so if you remind them, like, okay, so we know now that you're going, I can't do that, and then you realise, oh God, I'm probably saying that 50 times a day, right? So stop yourself. The minute you know that you're saying it, it is as simple as, no, I can do that. Because again, like I say, the minute you're born, you weren't born with, I can't do that. You've learnt that, and you've told yourself it time and time and time again. So what we've got to try and do when it comes to thoughts, how we're programmed, is it will come from the subconscious mind. So it's stored in there. So what we need to do is get into the subconscious mind to change it. And the only way to do that is get through the conscious mind. But the conscious mind is the part of we've got to repeat it over and over again. So once it drips in, so it's slowly dripping in. And once the subconscious goes, hang on a minute, I've got this, it will stick. Yeah, that's how it is programmed. Affirmations.
Is it a little bit like, and I'm going to go back much further than just being a young child, to when you're a baby, well, probably 10, 11, 12 months old, and you're learning to walk. So when you're learning to walk, it's in there, it's a subconscious normal thing. You start to pull yourself up on chairs or whatever, and you begin to try and walk. And you put one foot in front of the other. For the first couple of months, you fall over. But everybody is telling you at that point, because they want you to walk, because they can go to the play group and say, yes, my daughter's now walking, whatever. So they encourage you and they tell you that, you can do this. But at no point does that child stop trying to do it, because in their mind, it's part of their natural learning, isn't it, to walk?
Well, and if you think about as a baby, it hasn't been programmed with any of the negative yet. So the resilience, everything's going to still be there because it hasn't been taught, be careful, if you fall over, you might hurt yourself.
Don't touch that, it's hot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, as a child, it will keep going. So the minute it falls down, it doesn't know any difference. Like, I'll get up, I'll go again and again and again and again.
Isn't it a shame we lose that?
Yeah, nobody ever says at that age, do you know what? Walking's not for me. I've fallen over 3 times. I'm going to crawl around for the rest of my life.
Definitely. But again, we will be then programmed by what our parents, because of that fear that's driven by everyone around of, if you like, say if you're playing on something, be careful you don't fall over. Again, this is where beliefs will come from. It's like, hang on, I won't do that because the fear of that would happen. So so when we talk about changing that language to I can't to I can, also what we've got to realise is the belief system around it. So it's not only the language, actually it does something come from that.
So it's a little bit like what I would call examining the evidence of what your inner thoughts are telling you, that you can't do that. Why can't I do that? Where's that come from?
Yeah.
And actually can I do that? You know, so
where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Yeah. That's it. Because it could be as a child, they may have done maths at one point when they were younger, and it may have been actually they got a C instead of a B. And then depending what response that was from a teacher, or, oh, that wasn't good enough, or that grade wasn't good enough, your little brain can translate to, oh, I'm not good at maths.
Yeah.
Or actually you just didn't get the grade that person wanted you to get.
And do you associate feelings with it as well? So say in that instance, because you got a C and then, oh, that's not very good. And then you've got that thought with this feeling of, oh, yeah, I'm not very good, and I'm upset with it. So that sticks.
Yeah, that can be your trigger point. That's it. So yeah, without a doubt, you're going to have an emotion. That's the thing when they go for thoughts, feelings and behaviour. You can have a thought which automatically triggers an emotion, which then gives you your behaviour. So yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, that language is so powerful. And again, go back to schools. We talked about the public speaking and the glossophobia earlier. But words we hear a lot, and we're big advocates of this at the Future Toolbox, is turning away the I can't, I won't, and I don't know. So you go to a school and you say to a student, what's the answer to this? They'll immediately say, I don't know. Before they've even thought of it, they've programmed their mind to not think of the answer. So what we need to do is work out a way of not programming that negative thought with something like, I don't know, or I can't do that. What is the way, when we do become aware of that negative chatter, that we can flip it round into positive chatter, I suppose?
See, I always think is like another good way is having a conversation with yourself. And it's fine if you want to do it in your head. Sometimes I think, I don't know. Right, and it's stopping yourself to then go to yourself, well, it's all right, it's okay, I don't know this. If something's new, you're not going to know the answer to it. So again, it's about not the beating yourself up to go, God, I'm rubbish, I don't know the answer to this. It's sometimes to go, it's okay not to know the answer. How would I know the answer if I've never learned this before? Like the way that I look sometimes with that inner critic is looking at it as a bully. I'll say to some people, think about it as a bully. That little bully's on your shoulder telling you things. You can't do that. You don't know that. Then actually think about bullies. Bullies will go on and on, generally go on and on and on until you fight back. Yeah, usually when you fight back is when they'll stop. So sometimes I think do that with your inner thoughts. Is either fight back at them or just kind of go, well, actually, let's have a conversation here. Why are you telling me I don't know that? And then just hear what comes back. Because it's amazing what comes up. Before you know it, you're kind of calm because you're gaining control to go, oh, actually, what you meant was this.
I've got a really good book that links well to, and we've read it time and time again. In fact, it's falling to pieces now. We need to buy a new copy. It's called The Chimp Paradox by Steve Peters. And
Good
you
one.
knew I was going to say that straight away, didn't you?
A lot of people jump to that, yes.
And Jules bought me that years ago. And when we first read it, the analogy of having a chimp on your shoulder, we've all seen chimps, I don't know, in the zoo or wherever, where you irritate one of them and it flips out and it starts making loads of noise. So you can't say to a chimp, just sit in the corner and shut up, be quiet because I'm trying to listen. So sometimes it's good to let the chimp have its pity party. As you say, that is the analogy of saying, it's okay that I don't know the answer to this. And I remember then in schools, I would always flip the answer around and say, what do you think the answer could be? And this obviously works with adults as well. So you're stuck on a question. I don't know the answer. My chimp's having his pity party. That's okay. Have your pity party, then ask the question, what could the answer be? Now your brain starts to look for the answer, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. And also another good thing to think about as well is sometimes like our thoughts can be there to look after us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I look and think, or say to clients, actually think about what you're trying to tell me right now. Are you trying to look after me? Yeah, so that bit, if it goes, I don't know, it might be looking after you in the respect of, actually, if I tell you you don't know it, you won't answer this question, hence you might not look stupid. It's trying to protect you in some way. So sometimes it is good to kind of go, right, okay, I'm all right, thank you, or talk to it to just go, thank you for looking after me, but I'm okay, I can answer this myself. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be safe if I answer this, or flipping it around. It's just amazing what can come out when you have those conversations.
I have a conversation quite regularly in my head, and I can see this little monkey or whatever it is, and sometimes I actually talk to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I let him talk, and other times I say, no, you're wrong, and you have to now be quiet because this is what we're going to go and do. Or other times I just think, off you go, have a go. And then we'll rejoin the party, get together again, and we'll see who's right.
Yeah. Do you know, it's funny because not long ago I was going for a stage of massively overthinking, and it was kind of, I could feel all these thoughts coming in, and one day I'd just had enough, and I could feel myself angry in my head going, right, stop.
Yes.
I've had enough now. I've had enough of your chatter. And it was amazing how instantly it just stopped, and I was like, right, good, now I can take over. And I think what you've got to remember more than anything is that we are in control of our own thoughts, and that's what people have got to remember. You're putting that, I won't, I can't, I don't, that's all going in there. That's your choice. You've put it in there in the first place, so we can change it to go, right, let's put it as something else. Yeah. Because as I said before, like whatever you're thinking, those thoughts are just going to create your feelings and your behaviour.
And going back to what you said, in schools, as a teenager, it's so much easier when you get asked a question to say, I don't know. Then I try and answer it and get it wrong. And then the fear of having the school, the class laughing at you.
The cop-out answer is, I don't know. Something that also really helped me dealing with negative inner thoughts was to write things down. So we've talked a lot on previous podcasts about our books, What the Hell Just Happened, and Half Man, Half Marathon. And I found that release of writing about the period in your life when maybe you're going through a bit of trauma, when you're going through some negative times, actually recognising that there was a lot of positives as well was really, really good. And I learnt that word cathartic, which I had no idea what that word meant. Everybody kept saying, this must be really cathartic. I was, yeah, it's really cathartic. I need to go and look up what that word means now. But it was very cathartic. It was a really, really, really good release of the trauma and putting your thoughts down.
Yeah, that is another perfect tool to be doing when we look at thoughts, because if you think about the brain will just mould things over and over and over again. Yeah. And obviously if it's negative, it will just be picking up on all those things. So yeah, if you can get it off the brain, it can kind of let it go to go, oh, okay, I don't need to worry about that anymore. So writing things down is a really good way of doing things as well.
I love that. You just say get it off the brain, and sometimes people say get it off your chest, don't they? That's a new variation of that saying. I'm going to use that one.
We've
created something now. I love that. Let's get it off the brain. So the steps are to think, to change your language into positive language from negative, have a chat with yourself. Do you stand in front of the mirror when you do that? Maybe. And to write your thoughts down and get it off the brain.
Yes. Get it off the brain. Yeah. My gosh, what an interesting subject this is. And I feel like I could talk to you for the rest of the day about this, Lex, because there's so much there, isn't there?
Yeah, it honestly is. I mean, I could talk for hours over this, because this is why today's lovely been doing this, because I'm passionate about this sort of thing, that I can't tell you enough thoughts. Please, pay attention to your thoughts, because they have a massive impact. Thoughts is what we said before, is going to give you your language, is going to give you your behaviour.
Isn't it?
If you can pay attention to your thoughts as much as possible, and then just look at all these tools that we've talked about to start swapping that, if you realise that inner critic's in there, because it will be affecting you massively.
So if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you to explore this further, or maybe get some advice or help from you, how do they contact you, Lex?
Yeah, best way is you can check out my website, which is lexlovell.com. Or just email me on hello@lexlovell.com, and we can go from there.
Fantastic.
That's fabulous. And thanks for coming on again, Lex, and sharing your wisdom with us. We always really appreciate it.
We do.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. I love doing this.
So if you want to find out more about the Future Toolbox, you can find us on our website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk. We're also on social media, which is Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and also find us on LinkedIn. And we look forward to catching you all for next week's episode.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.